When we made the first Resident Evil movie, no one had made a zombie film for like 15 years. You know, when I was growing up and I was a kid, the Lucio Fulci movies and the Romero movies, I mean, there was a new one coming out every couple of weeks, and kids loved zombie movies. Then no one made one for 15 years, and then with Resident Evil, we really made the first one again. Now there's a lot of undead movies around, so it really puts the pressure on for us to be original and kind of like continue to push the envelope. I think a strength of Resident Evil movies, though, are they're not just zombie movies. You know, there are a lot more creatures in these films than just the undead. And there are also a lot of science fiction ideas, science fiction concepts in the movies as well. So they're kind of bigger than just a zombie movie.
I've always been such a huge fan of science fiction books, so, you know, I guess taking it to a visual level is kind of a very obvious choice in the sense it's like great to shoot. I mean, you've got like people with superpowers, spaceships, and weird landscapes, monsters. I mean, it's very cinematic, you know, it's a very cinematic genre, so, you know, I love to see science fiction movies. I love to see action movies and stuff like that, so, you know, I think a lot of people really just are fascinated in going into these different worlds and sort of escaping. You know, it's kind of like in the 50s, people like musicals, you know, in the millennium, they like science fiction. The Alice in this movie is definitely much more of a loner. You know, she realizes that she can't control whatever Umbrella's done to her, so she just tries to isolate herself from people. And, you know, it's very trying because she's alone most of the time, and even when she does join the convoy, she still feels very alone because people don't trust her and people are very scared of her. And actually the only person that she can relate to and who understands her is Carlos. You know, so they've got a very special relationship, and you know, I feel like, you know, in the first movie she was very innocent in a sense, and you know, she didn't really understand who she was or that she had anything to do with what was going on in this film, and you know, in the second one, she's just kind of, you know, trying to help these people survive. And in this one, she's a bit more introspective because, you know, she's alone a lot of the time and she's having to kind of fight her own demons in a lot of ways and face, you know, her biggest fears in a sense. And, you know, Umbrella's created all these clones of her and they've been killing them off and dumping them in this big pit. And so she has to see this. So it's definitely a much more emotional character in that sense, and much deeper in a way because you know, she's definitely got to face things that are pretty crazy and very scary and very, very emotional. You know, she's lost a lot of people, so you know, she's definitely very angry with herself and very guilty. So it's a lot for her to get over.
I mean, looking at Mila now in the third movie, there's just no way that I could imagine this series or this franchise without her. She has become this franchise. It's so funny. I mean, when we did the first one, we just said, you know, let's cast someone who looks great, who can do all of these stunts. And you know, it was almost a lucky coincidence that we cast her. And who would have thought? I mean, that she's so fantastic with the action, that she's enjoying it so much. It's so much hard work and it's such a commitment from her side. And I think the Alice character is now, you know, it's now the centerpiece of the Resident Evil franchise. It's good, good.
The sets in the movie they are really divided in two parts, two different parts, almost opposite parts. One is the thing that are outside, and the other thing, what is the complex that it's inside there. So at the outside, we're playing with a lot of textures. It was we decided, well, the movie plays in the desert, so we decided to incorporate all the colors, all the textures of the desert, all the decadent part of a world finished rusty, extremely weathered, to have a huge contrast with the cold, shiny surfaces of the complex. So. Working in Mexicali, we had a great locations. One of the big challenges was to seize those locations with our construction. So we built a lot, but we try to incorporate as well all the elements of the landscape. So working there was extremely hard. The sun and the temperature was amazing. We were in the desert, so we had to. Also, we faced the challenge of keep those sets on place with because it's a windy zone, So we just made a huge scaffolding structure to hold the sets on place.
The crew has been working so hard. I mean, it's one of those films where I definitely think the crew is working a lot harder than any of the actors just because of the elements over there in Mexicali.
You know, you go through barren landscapes and then you go to sort of strange TV stations where there are weirdos, which are more like characters. They're not zombies or undeads. They're like sort of people from Deliverance who do weird things with people in chains, with dogs, and that's all like out there.
For me at this point, there's definitely lots of things that I have to train for, like kicks and things like that, but you know, it wasn't as difficult in this movie as it is on some of them because I've already kind of had so much experience with this that you know, it was much easier than I expected to pick up all the fight sequences.
Mila, I have not worked with before. When I first got together with her to start our fight scenes, essentially what I will do is I'll have her stunt double. We'll work through the fight scenes with the double. Then Mila would come in, she'd look at what her double was doing, and she was superb in the fact that she just picked it up in a heartbeat. She'd just keep walking through the moves with her in through her mind. But what was amazing to all of us, as I said earlier, is how quickly she could pick it up and adapt to each thing. And again, throwing in her own ideas, which you also have to implement. But once she came in and that first day, and I saw how good she was at getting the fight sequence down and remembering the moves, and then the knife fighting in it was not a simple deal. And I felt real happy. It just makes my life a lot easier on a show if the actor, we can always use the actor, and it's always best to use the actor in the scenes as much as possible. It's best for all. And as little as we have to use a double, it's great for all involved.
The third movie is set pretty much after the end of the world. The world has been wiped out by the T virus. And there's a small microcosm of humanity that's left. And it's kind of like the proto-family of the future. And it's this band of survivors who are part of this convoy, this armored convoy that stays on the move continually so that they try and stay out of trouble, stay ahead of the undead. And it's a family of survivors that's thrown together. And, you know, you know, perhaps they'll repopulate the Earth at one point.
There's a lot more of an ensemble on this time around, and the feeling of family is such because these people have been driving and surviving for a while now, and in a world where there's a danger at every turn, and there is no food, there's no gas. They're driving basically through the desert. So I think the characters are much closer this time around, and we have a lot more extremes of different, funny, weird, sad, you know, characters, and so it's. I think it makes a much more of an ensemble feel and makes the movie a lot more dynamic and interesting.
Okay, all ready? Yeah. And rehearsal. No, after you, very good. Just checking the top. Listen to the drum. Roll sound.
37 Alpha, c21.
Okay, Mark. Ready? And action.
Division to join us. I've been busy.
That's most interesting, because we were just about to talk about the results of your experiments, or rather the lack of them.
Is that so?
On the subject of the biohazard, what does the science division have to report?
We now know conclusively that they have no real need for sustenance. They hunger for flesh, but do not require it. Unless exposed to extremes of temperature or environment, my research indicates they could remain active for decades.
We need to get past the little trigger. So by the time you reach that mark, you should be at number 2. So guys, when Dr. Isaacs turns up, yeah? Yeah? So when you hear Dr. Isaacs from the chairman, you turn a little bit. And then I think you can go on to
Unless exposed to extremes of temperature or environment, my research indicates they could remain active for decades.
Decades. Were to remain trapped underground for decades.
Then perhaps we should place someone else in charge. Someone who can give us the reassurances we require. Continue with your research, Doctor. But be quick about it, while it still is your research. This meeting is adjourned.
Reload!
Yeah, well, I'll try. It's not going to be very good.
all right, Russ. Yeah.
Tracks out of the way, be ready to go again immediately.
Standing by to go again.
Like that?
No, pues es todo.
Like that.
I'm gonna go over this side over here.
Our director, Russell Mulcahy, has been really great, and he's had a very strong vision of how the movie should look, and he did all the storyboards himself, and you know, he has a very special style of filming, and it looks unbelievable because he's really captured this very spooky, creepy quality about the daytime that not many people really would be able to even think of. You know, everyone expected this movie to be filmed at night, so when Russell kind of, you know, said, oh no, let's film it during the day, it was definitely did a double take, but at the same time, when the dailies started coming back of these incredible sets and these incredible shots of the desert during the day and just how creepy and quiet it is in a sense and how lonely, you know, everything kind of, everybody was like, oh yeah, that's amazing.
Say when, guys, we're all getting hot.
¿Qué pasó? Se llama Charlie 187.
Okay. This is good.
Cameras ready?
Luis. Can I get a couple of plastic? Can I get the plastic guns? Sorry. Thank you.
You know, what's really amazing in this movie with Mike is, you know, he really has a lot of depth to his character. It's not just like joke, joke, wink, wink.
Oh, this time they didn't want any jokes, you know what I mean? Last time they let me be the comic relief, I guess. This time they said no jokes, you know. They wanted to keep this one. That's why I said this, on this script right here, I think this is a little bit more advanced, a little bit different from the first two. This one has a whole nother twist to it. And it's more real, you know what I mean? And it gave me a chance to be more real.
But he still does a few takes where he does a few ad-libs. Yeah, you go and slap him. It'll be a horror film.
Oded is a guy that's cool to work with on the set, you know. He's really serious about, you know, his character and what he's doing in the movie, and he wants you to be that way too.
One of the main sets in the interior on the complex was the laboratory. The laboratory, I tried to make a mixing the laboratory of the first one and the second one, and adding some of our my own design, my own world. So we decided to go concrete walls. That it's something that was taken from the previous movies, to look like a bunker. Like that's the main idea. That it's a bunker. They're protecting themselves against the zombies, against what it's happening on the surface.
every good zombie needs hideously ugly zombie teeth. They just wouldn't be zombies without rotten teeth. So what we prepared is a bag o' teeth here, multiple sets of generic teeth. We end up taking a Flexacryl material, which is a flexible acrylic liner, and you mix it up in a 2-part liquid, and you actually put it on the back of these teeth, and you stick it in the actor's mouth, and they hold it for a few seconds until it stiffens up. And it's still flexible. It won't harm you in any way, but it makes a suction, holds that teeth right in there. Something like this. Whoa! It holds that teeth right in there.
I was reading different scripts, and I'm actually I'm doing a TV show this year. And right after I finished shooting the pilot, I had a little bit of time before I started to shoot the show. And my manager called me and said he had the script for me to read. It was the 3rd installment of the Resident Evil franchise. And he's like, do you like that kind of genre? Is it something that you're into? And I said, what, let me read the script first and kind of see what my natural instincts with it are. And I read the script, and then I bought the first one and the second one. And I was just totally blown away by how fun and how cool of a new idea Paul developed for this for Resident Evil 3. So, so I got it, I think, through the pretty normal way of Hollywood. You read it, you meet the director, the producers, you audition, and, sometimes they say, you're our girl. When I think about this character, and especially when I read it, I felt like she plays specific roles for everyone that needs them, in meaning that she will play a mother to someone, she will play a best friend, she will play a buddy, anything that someone needs. I mean, we're at the end of the earth, and it's kind of like she's just psychologically, I think she tries to help and kind of help and be like a guiding force in whichever way each person in her convoy needs it. One of the things, too, that's so great is that we're down on location shooting in Mexico. And we're staying in this hotel where there's the pool in the center, and we all are living all around it. And we've gotten a chance to really spend time together. And I think that on a movie like this, it really shows when you actually like each other. And I love Chris. I love Spencer. Mila has been amazing. Like, this is her franchise and her movies, and she's just kind of welcomed me with open arms. And I think that, it shows how much we really like each other, and it's all those moments in between that I hope really are caught on camera, because we did kind of create a little family down here.
All right, we're ready to go. We're ready.
God, it looks fantastic. The juxtaposition of this with all the desert stuff.
The flash is brilliant.
So many great looks.
Okay. All right, stand by, and then we'll do China.
Stand by.
In research, I looked at the first two films, which I enjoyed a lot. But I think in this third film, and with Dr. Isaacs, they've given a more fully rounded personality to you know, a member of Umbrella. They're slightly indistinct in the previous films, and I think he wrote up a great part for Alice to be put up against, you know, outside the walking undead, who she's constantly up against, you know. But with Isaac, she's dealing with a really quite a keen intelligence, and he has a power over her. He knows her, and in some ways created her, you know. So it's a different sort of enemy.
These heats, which on some days are well over 130, are staggering.
Oh man, it's been, it's on hell right now. No type of degrees, it's just on hell. You know how you mess with the temperature and on your temperature scale it says hell on it? That's what it's on out here.
There's been, you know, a lot of crazy stuff. Our director has been taken to the hospital with dehydration.
It's Mother Nature being so much stronger than we are. And it's amazing when we film it, how you get a new appreciation to Mother Nature, because everything breaks down. Everything breaks down. It doesn't matter how advanced we are and how many air conditioners we've got and cooling packs and all the rest of it. All the cameras break down, and the equipment, the sound equipment, people, everything breaks down. Cars all sink in the sand. Everything is so much harder.
You look this way a little bit, and then you turn and we pan off, and you can feel the camera coming back? Mm-hmm. Yeah? We're not doing that.
It happened much earlier.
No, the pan off comes early.
for me, standing out there, if I put a shirt on, it was 10 times hotter for me than without a shirt on. So it just happened to be the case, and yes, I felt a little odd as even the local crew were wandering around with hats and shirts and everything else. And I was the guy just without the shirt on taking the abuse all day. But in my instance, and no, you shouldn't go around without a shirt on at 130 degrees. You will burn, but it just worked for me as an individual.
And then I've got it empty.
Yeah, and if you keep that action in front of here, other guys are coming in.
I duck down and roll. Rick is a walking advertisement to what not to do. He is 24 hours a day with a cigar in his mouth and no shirt on, without any sun protection at all. He looks great, but my God, it just, you look at him and you go, oh God, oh, that's not natural, that shouldn't be, oh. So, oh God, yeah, he's a stunt guy, they're crazy.
That works pretty good. Oh,
What do you want to do?
What I was thinking was just some interactive light on her face for shadow.
El otro es el que está de su lado.
Because there's like crazy wings happening here.
Yo voy a tomar otro que está abajo.
¿Cuándo él diga o qué?
Sí, todavía están ajustando todavía.
Ok.
One of the things we've always tried to do with the Resident Evil films is, although CG is very important to these movies, obviously we've tried to be as practical as possible whenever we can. So things like not using CG flames, but having a real flamethrower that shoots these incredible jets of flame. It's pretty amazing to look at.
Rolling!
Just going to stick the hand on at the last moment, but it takes like 30 seconds.
Right, let me use shadow.
This was smooth.
Yeah.
Everything else.
It's good? Lovely.
Okay,
Pérez. La cámara.
Date.
Get the big doors open and clear the alleyway, please.
1, 2.
Thank you.
So. bad. I've never seen it before.
Yes, sir. Cowboy number.
The actor's coming.
Full screen. Yeah. Check it.
Yeah. That should be all right.
Se la presenta.
Are you happy, Davo? Yeah.
This is the end position of where you stop.
Okay.
Just give me a minute with the actors, please.
Now.
Tim, are you on me before you get to Dead?
No.
No, es que lo patean y...
Alice and Carlos Oliveira have obviously this friendship and attraction, and you know, they have a lot of respect for one another. So when they meet again on this film, you know, it's a big relief for my character, because you know, she would feel very alone without him, and you know, she's so strong and she's so alone and she's kind of so independent. Everybody looks at her like she's this crazy monster in some sense, and he's kind of the only one that looks at her like she's just a woman, you know, and just kind of this little girl in a sense. You know, he's not scared of her, he's not intimidated by her, he just really wants to make sure that she's safe.
I really don't like the rest of the cast that much. I don't really know why they hired them. That Oded Fair guy, I just don't get it. I'm a very negative person. The only person I like is me. I'm an actor.
We should do a remake.
Really, could you tell me some more tonight? I thought you were trying to get by.
Alice's character really steps into Claire's world that she's been running for 3 years. And at first people are apprehensive. You know, there are scenes where people like sort of won't look at Alice when she's wandering the camp when she first turns up. They're sort of wondering whether she's like, you know, the devil woman.
There was one scene that we've both felt like we needed a moment where our characters connected in this. And we talked to Paul, and Paul also felt that way, and different people, and he wrote the scene, and we got a chance to really work together on it.
I think everyone regards everyone with great suspicion inside the Umbrella Corporation. I think they're a great money-making corporation, but No, Dr. Isaacs is an arrogant man, and I think he takes his fate into his own hands, and when he's overruled by the powers above him, he doesn't much like it, so he decides to go off on his own, and that causes great disruption.
The convoy is definitely a family who's led by Claire, who's in the game, and she's basically the general, the leader, leading the pack.
In this kind of genre, you know, they allow women to have that strong role and to kick butt and to be smart and, you know, a leader. And they don't allow that, at least, you know, in my experience of reading scripts as often. So for me, it's just really cool. And I guess, you know, with Mila, she has a huge following all through Asia. And they put her, you know, this mythic figure on this pedestal. And I don't know, I think it's kind of great.
Hi. Here we are in Mexicali shooting up.
Allie's been unbelievable. I mean, she's such a beautiful girl and a beautiful spirit, great actress, you know, just very confident and very inspiring. I mean, I have to say, like, she just had a really great grip on Claire Redfield, and what she brought to the character was really interesting because, you know, it wasn't just about being sexy or being, you know, the cool action chick. Like, she's very nurturing. She's very like a mother, you know, to all these people. She cares about them, and, you know, it's very real. You know, she brought a great reality to the part.
Please! Where is everybody? Yeah, here. Put his way, Mark.
You needn't worry. Oh, yes, you need those. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know where she went. No, fine. Okay.
Certainly as a writer, I've tried to invest these characters with as much character as possible. You know, I think, especially because I knew we were going to kill a lot of them. And I think in horror, you know, there's nothing better than killing characters that you really care for. And, you know, I've really tried in this movie to give as much time, as much as you can in an ensemble film. And that's always the problem with ensemble movies, is you have to establish character really fast. I've tried to kind of give these characters as much kind of interrelationships and character as possible, so that when it comes to the point that they die, and they do have to die, you know, the audience really, really cares about them.
The solution to the T-virus is going to have to be a scientific solution, and he thinks he's got it. And I think he probably has got it, but he just doesn't manage to, you know, put it into practice.
We had a lot of fun making the vehicles. Because one thing is just draw, you design them, but when we were physically making them, we really enjoy it. It was like thinking about, oh, we're in a convoy, so what we need? We need water, we need something for the cold weather, we need something to defend us from the zombies, from the undead. What will be our position in all this convoy? So I mean, it's great to have some cars just to play with them and paint them and just have fun designing it.
I love Mila. She works the hardest out of everybody. She'll do her own stunts and she'll do everything in the hardest heat and the whole thing. And she really would never complain unless there's something to complain about. But she's not, she's just a really hard worker, and she's a very giving actress.
Part of it that I really, really enjoyed was putting on the makeup and going in special effects and looking like a total different person than I ever looked. I really enjoyed doing that, because it gave me a chance to go somewhere else.
The desert is so harsh here, so harsh, and there's these beautiful dunes, and they built an amazing Las Vegas set. That's, well, it's not exactly Las Vegas. It's more of a run-down Las Vegas version, but into the dunes, and it's beautiful. It's amazing. It's amazing to me how they did it.
Working on this movie is so much fun. I love running around the desert in 130-degree temperatures and rolling in the sand with zombies and climbing the Eiffel Tower. Climbing the Eiffel Tower on a hot day, it's great for about the first 30 times, and after that, it's just not that much fun. I don't know.
Action! See. Just looking around, looking around. Stand by.
Guns are hot.
Thank you. Can I get the real ones?
Yeah. On the speed.
Denver 165 Echo, take 5.
Mark.
Mark.
C Mark. You Mark. And Fred. Fred.
And action.
The military for me is now, what, 12, 13 years ago. So I don't have exactly that well of I can't recall exactly the training, what fits and what not. But yeah, I mean, I'm, let's put it this way, I suppose I'm familiar with guns and things like that, and a little bit of like Army tactics and things.
Right, so you end up in front of him.
Here we go. Camera ready? Camera! Mark. Background action and action. Bang, bang, bang. Bang. Worth doing is, shall we just go ahead and do it and see what you get?
Yes, please.
And
My Baker. Take 1, B Mark.
C Mark.
Marka.
D Mark. Right.
There we go. And action! Cut. Action.
For this movie in particular, I have to use these really cool knives called kukris, which are real weapons used by the Nepalese Gurkhas back against, the British people at, the turn of the century. And but they only used one, where I used two, which is pretty cool because they're big weapons, big knives, and they're very vicious looking.
And shaking, shaking, and action.
And we're going to hit her sort of here. Okay. Is that going to work for everybody?
And action.
More than anything, the heat has been the hardest for anybody. Is working in the heat and rolling around in the sand and getting really hot and sweaty and stuff. And even just being in the news van that I'm in, it's like an oven. And I think that they've been really the most challenging thing.
Action! Run! Climb! Action! Climb! Come on! Late. Set.
All good.
Got it.
There were a few people that were not convinced that horror or suspense or whatever can happen in broad daylight. And we did some tests, and they saw the tests and went, wow, it does. I said, yeah, sunlight's like moonlight, it's like, it's whatever. There was a quote once that read, what's terrifying is not necessarily that which goes bump in the night, but that which whispers at midday.
And it's hard to think of many other films that are scary in the daytime. It's more of a challenge because you can see everything, but then the thing that's most striking about this landscape is there's just nothing there. It's a lot of emptiness. And Vegas, which is to so many people such a hub of activity and commerce and interaction, is just desolate. So I think in order to fully appreciate the desolation, you need to see it. I think it's hard to do desolation at night. I think to do desolation, you need daylight.
Ready? Set.
How much of this have you used?
The blood increased the creature's powers. Also increased the strength of the infection. I needed it.
You have no idea what this will do to you.
Oh. I have an idea.
You're out of control. This ends here. Under Executive Order 1345, issued by Chairman Wesker for insubordination and gross misconduct in the field, I sentence you to summary liquidation.
Liquidation?
Just die.
please.
Okay, rolling, quiet, silencio. Action.
The relationship between Carlos and Alice, I think there's a lot that happened between the last movie and this movie that we're not exactly sure what happened. And they obviously have a very strong mutual attraction. The problem is obviously that Alice's character, the character of Alice is, she's not 100% normal.
Still late and you know it. Infection's not too far. Besides, you need a way to get in there. And I have an idea. You okay? You keep him safe, huh? Same. You promised me one thing. When you get down there, consider it done.
No!
When I first came on set, you have all these actors like hiding behind umbrellas and hiding underneath tents and things, and there's Oded like in the middle of the desert, in the sun, you know, with the sunglasses on and just like no hat, no nothing, just kind of walking around like he owns the joint, you know, and I'm going, Oded, man, like, you're gonna like kill yourself, what are you doing? He's like, yeah, it's fine, you know, I'm okay, I'm just getting into character. And he's like red like a lobster, but just like into it and like into just, you know, feeling his part. And, you know, it was a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
All right, Adriana doing the move. Derek, Rob, Derek!
Get the kids out, quickly! Go, go, go. Come on. Come on, sweetie. Here, we have to turn.
Come on. Here. You're not coming?
Care of the others. We're gonna need you.
And here we go. And turn over. Turn over.
All right. Put a little bit of smoke in, please. There. Up a little. All right. Okay, and everybody else, I need a little bit of quiet, thanks. I'll be up.
Sound. Sound speed. 230, check 1. A mark.
Mark.
Right.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. I'm the artificial intelligence witch.
I know what you are. I met your sister. She was a homicidal bitch.
My sister computer was merely following the most logical path for the preservation of human life.
Got that?
A serum derived from your blood. The resulting infection has caused massive mutation.
My blood.
Your blood has bonded with the T-virus. Dr. Isaacs correctly deduced that it could be used to reverse the process of infection, to cure or destroy the biohazard for good.
My blood.
Your blood has bonded with the T-virus. Dr. Isaacs correctly deduced that it could be used to reverse the process of infection, to cure or destroy the biohazard for good.
My blood could be the cure for all this.
Correct.
Good. All right. We got that one. How long do we have to do? So you come in here, you've got this color and hear a noise, boom, and you might just call something.
Now we're just doing one rehearsal.
Ready?
And so you're going to do the cues, yeah?
Yeah. So it'll be an action, and then Millie, you'll hear it go, but that's for Brian. Okay. And action.
Brian. Okay.
So you just want to take a beat?
Yeah, I'd come maybe a little faster, Miller.
A ver, otro, ¿no?
Behind the scenes. Mexicans.
So follow through, swing me through. So I come into the bubble. She crashes into here.
And throws a cool green.
That had a very inhuman feel to it, which is excellent.
Good.
So the more you can push that, the better.
Get your autograph.
This is the tyrant monster. This is our big monster at the end of the movie. Last movie had Nemesis, this movie has the tyrant.
They completely transform me within the course of an hour. And they use brilliant prosthetics. I had a cast made of my head, so they had all the measurements and my face. And basically they have different pieces which they put on, but they still keep a section of my face visible. And so it just looks very real, I think, and disturbing and rather horrible. And you can see Dr. Isaacs beneath this mutation.
We're thinking anatomy now. I mean, all his veins are popping and his tumors are going, and he's like a rogue cancer cell, just exploding. And he's almost like an inside-out man. It's almost like his guts have turned inside out. If I can direct you over here, this is his body, and it's a full upper torso suit. It's I'd say it's probably about 40, 50 pounds of foam rubber, and both actors wear it, Brian and Ian. And you just saw the head gets grafted on there. And then hand-wise, the tyrant has this giant tentacle hand, if I can get it on even, you know. And these tentacles shoot out at people and you know, like go right into their eye sockets and their mouth and in your guts and basically just tear you apart. Also, this will split open here, and a bigger moray eel type tentacle will come out and threaten Mila and menace her. And so he's got many weaponries all at his disposal. Our facial appliances, you know, something like this. And then this very subtle piece ties in over here. And what you end up having is this is all still the actor. This is all still Ian Glenn in here. And it really reads through. His whole nose and eye. This eye he has a contact lens in. And all these are the pieces it takes to turn him into this horrible beast at the end of the movie.
You just need to inhabit it. And, you know, I have absurdly muscular, you know, upper chest and torso and stuff. And you have to kind of move differently. It's lovely that incorporated within the same part I have the chance to kind of play the evil Dr. Isaacs and also, you know, this wonderful mutation, which I am enjoying. I've got a double who's probably much better than me, and certainly physically, you know, he's about, I don't know, 6'7" and stuff. So I shall be fighting with him to who's on screen.
This way? Yeah. Do this really good. Yeah. What happened in Japan was that you were a company man. You know, even while you're at school, your future was mapped out, and there was a security to that. But what happened, 10 years ago was the Japanese economy started to decline, and corporations no longer offered that security. And also what happened in Japan was there was a huge amount of corporate corruption, the same as in America. But it kind of came to light a little earlier in Japan. And I think the Resident Evil games have fed from that. I think the idea of the overarching evil and corrupt umbrella corporation really comes from people's genuine concerns and fears that these corporations feel that they are above the law. And that sounds like a cinematic fantasy, but you only look at Enron and it's so fantastical what they did, how corrupt they were. It's pretty amazing. So I think it's a short step from that to something like the umbrella corporation.
Definitely a lot of people feel like in today's society, there might be a lot of things going on that we are not aware of and that the government could be hiding. And, I think a lot of these video games and a lot of these action movies kind of mirror that. We're living in very scary times. I mean, there's a lot going on in the world today that's very unstable. So for sure, I mean, the movies reflect that instability. I don't think that, Paul wrote the films as a social commentary in any way, shape, or form. It's just, the fact is the films are the films, but we are living in an unstable world. There's a lot going on in science today that's definitely is not too far off from the Resident Evil world, so.
I've been very lucky in seeing, my vision of the Resident Evil films come to fruition. We've been, in 6 years, we've made 3 movies as well, which, as anyone can tell you in Hollywood, is pretty fast, to be able to make that many movies that quickly, because Hollywood's a kind of tricky place to develop material and get films made. So it's been great to make the movies and also see such a kind of broad vision come to the screen.